A tractor with no gearbox, a tractor that can change its width while it's moving, and a tractor you can actually control with a smartphone. It was developed by farmers themselves, together with a former Lamborghini engineer. And the craziest part? It was designed to run on hydrogen. Sounds like something from the future, right? Well, this tractor already exists. Today, we're taking a look at the EOX-175, one of the most unusual agricultural machines developed in recent decades. It's designed around hydrogen fuel cell technology and has already been tested in real field conditions. But don't click away just yet, because let's find out why this revolutionary tractor nearly disappeared, how the project was saved, and whether this machine could actually point toward the future of farming. So, let's start at the beginning. The story began in the Netherlands. While most tractor manufacturers were busy improving traditional diesel machines, a group of engineers and farmers decided to take a completely different approach. They asked a simple question: what if we designed a tractor from scratch? Not just upgrade an old design, not add a few new features, but completely rethink what an agricultural tractor should be. That's how the H2Track project was born. The goal was to build a machine specifically for modern farming. One that could reduce soil compaction, work with automation, and eventually operate without conventional diesel power. And the first thing you notice about the EOX is that it looks nothing like a typical tractor. It has huge ground clearance, an extremely wide stance, and a massive frame. But the really interesting stuff is hidden underneath. Let's start with one of the biggest problems in modern agriculture: soil compaction. When heavy machinery repeatedly drives across a field, it compresses the soil, and that can affect the soil structure and ultimately crop growth. That's why the EOX was designed around the principles of controlled traffic farming. The idea is pretty simple. Instead of driving randomly across the field, the tractor follows the same permanent tracks. That means most of the field is left untouched by the tractor's wheels. And now things get really interesting. The EOX has adjustable track width, and we're not talking about something you have to change in the workshop. The operator can adjust it directly from the cab. Push a button, and the hydraulic system moves the wheels outward or inward. The track width can be adjusted from roughly 2 to 3 meters. For farmers, that means the tractor can adapt to different crops, row spacings, and traffic patterns. But that's only the beginning. The tractor was also designed around the principles of a circular economy. Traditional agricultural machinery relies heavily on welded structures. The EOX, however, uses a modular design with many components connected by bolts. That makes individual parts easier to replace, reuse, or repair. If one component fails, you don't necessarily have to replace an entire assembly. You can replace the damaged part and keep the rest of the machine working. And there's even a funny story from the early development stage. When the first prototype was ready for testing, the engineers ran into an unexpected problem. The tractor couldn't even leave the workshop. Why? It was simply too big to fit through the door. Now let's get to the numbers. The diesel-electric version uses a 4-cylinder FPT engine producing 175 horsepower. The hydrogen version weighs around 7 tons. The rear suspension can handle up to 4.5 tons, while the front suspension can handle up to 2.5 tons. The electric drive system produces 100 kilowatts. Top speed is around 40 kilometers per hour, and ground clearance is approximately 70 centimeters. So this isn't just an exhibition concept sitting in a showroom. It was developed as a real field tractor. And the most unusual part is the powertrain. The same basic machine can be configured with different power systems, including a diesel generator, a battery electric setup, or a hydrogen fuel cell system. That means the platform isn't tied to just one energy source. But why does this tractor even need a gearbox? Well, it doesn't. And that's where the EOX gets really interesting. So instead of sending power through a traditional transmission, the EOX uses electric motors. Each wheel has its own 22 kilowatt electric motor. That basically gives the tractor 4 independent power units. A computer constantly monitors the load on each wheel and distributes power exactly where it's needed. And that gives the EOX some seriously unusual capabilities. For example, it can perform what's known as a crab movement. The tractor can literally move sideways. All 4 wheels can turn at an angle of up to 45 degrees, allowing the entire machine to travel diagonally instead of simply going forward or backward. And because the tractor has 4-wheel steering, it can also turn extremely tightly, in some situations, almost on the spot. For a machine this large, that's a huge advantage. Even the name EOX has a meaning. It refers to an electric ox, basically highlighting the idea that even with all this advanced technology, the tractor is still designed to be the main source of pulling power on the farm. But there's another feature that made this tractor really famous: hydrogen. If you're into new tractors, agricultural technology, and unusual machinery from around the world, that support helps us find machines that most people have never heard of. Unlike a conventional diesel tractor, the hydrogen version uses a fuel cell system. Hydrogen is stored in high-pressure tanks, and the fuel cell converts it into electricity. That electricity powers the electric motors. And instead of producing diesel exhaust, the fuel cell system produces water as its main byproduct. The hydrogen version uses a battery with a capacity of around 45 kilowatt hours and a fuel cell rated at about 120 kilowatts. Depending on the configuration, the tractor can carry between 3 and 6 hydrogen tanks. According to the source material, operating time can reach around 5 hours, depending on the workload. And now comes the obvious question. If the technology is so advanced, why don't we already see thousands of hydrogen tractors working across farms? The answer is pretty simple. The biggest challenge isn't necessarily the tractor. It's the infrastructure. For widespread adoption, farmers would need access to hydrogen production, storage, and refueling infrastructure. And the engineers were thinking about something else too. A future where the tractor doesn't even need a driver. The EOX was designed with autonomous operation in mind. It can use GPS navigation and can be operated remotely through a tablet or even a smartphone. So the operator doesn't necessarily have to sit inside the cab the entire time. They could potentially monitor and control the machine from a distance. And that's where the story takes a very unexpected turn. But despite all the attention surrounding the tractor, the company behind the project ran into serious financial problems. Developing completely new agricultural technology takes a huge amount of money. Eventually, the company declared bankruptcy. For a moment, it looked like the story was over. The tractor of the future might have remained nothing more than an ambitious experiment. But then something unexpected happened. The project was saved. It was brought back under a new name, EOX Tractors. And most importantly, the new owners didn't abandon the hydrogen concept. They continued developing the technology. Today, the tractor has returned to exhibitions and demonstrations and has moved toward the commercial market. According to the source material, the manufacturer had already received pre-orders for 5 more machines. And now we get to the question everyone wants answered. How much does a tractor like this cost? The version equipped with a diesel generator starts at around $320,000. The fully electric version with a battery pack and the hydrogen version can cost more than $420,000. That's a serious price tag. So, will the EOX-175 become the tractor of the future? Or is hydrogen-powered farming still too expensive and too dependent on infrastructure to become mainstream? What do you think? Would you switch from a conventional diesel tractor to a hydrogen-powered machine? And do you think tractors like this could eventually replace diesel machinery on farms? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Subscribe to Prosto Agro and turn on notifications. There are plenty more unusual agricultural machines coming up, including technologies you probably haven't heard about yet. See you in the next video.